From the ruins of war, a seed of hope was sowed for private education in the country. After the Second World War, the private education sector successfully campaigned for a share of the Special Fund for Education set aside by the United States government, which led to the creation of the Fund for Assistance to Private Education, or FAPE, through Executive Order No. 156 that was signed by President Ferdinand E. Marcos on November 5, 1968. It also constituted the Private Education Assistance Committee, or the PEAC, as the trustee of the fund that has become a symbol of the necessary public-private partnership in Philippine education. Founding Fathers. Considered the Founding Fathers are the original members of the PEAC: Dr. Onofre D. Corpus, former Education Secretary; Attorney Nicanor Y. Fuentes, National Economic Council, now National Economic and Development Authority; Dr. Armand V. Fabella, Philippine Association of Colleges and Universities; Dr. Waldo S. Perfecto, Catholic Educational Association of the Philippines; Dr. Arturo M. Guerrero, Association of Christian Schools and Colleges, now Association of Christian Schools, Colleges and Universities. They laid the foundations of the PEAC, an enduring institution that has a clear mandate to serve Philippine private education. With their vision, they emphasized the need for government assistance to private education, strongly advocated for an organized sector that engages and collaborates with government, and took significant steps towards concrete reforms and developments in the sector.
The American colonial government set up the public school system in the Philippines, but it also encouraged private education. And until maybe the 1960s or up to 1970, the private sector accounted for perhaps 80% of the enrollment in the tertiary sector, and perhaps as much as 40% in the basic education sector. So it had emerged as a major force in delivering education to the public.
PEAC as funder. The work of the PEAC for the private education sector is multifaceted. As a funder, it has been known as an institution builder. It supported the establishment of institutions that respond to the needs of the sector, such as the Federation of Accrediting Agencies of the Philippines, or FAAP, Center for Educational Measurement, or CEM, Private Education Retirement Annuity Association, or PERAA, and the United Property and Accident Insurance System for Education, or APRAISE.
So as a funder, the PAC as the trustee of the fund is actually involved in implementing several internally funded programs that support private education. For example, we have a program that supports teachers in private schools who are pursuing their thesis and dissertation as part of graduate work. We also have a program of support for educational associations such as COCOPEA, CAP, and PACU in order to support them for capacity building initiatives and, more importantly, for public policy and advocacy initiatives. We also have a program to support schools who need coaches and mentors while they work on their quality assuring initiatives. So all of these are programs of the PEAC as a funder.
The PEAC continues to support the sector through the projects and initiatives of private educational associations throughout the years. PEAC as an advocate. As an advocate, the PEAC championed and provided technical assistance for the passage of a landmark piece of legislation, Republic Act No. 6728, the Government Assistance to Students and Teachers in Private Education, or GASTPE. It is also at the forefront of advocating for extending GASTPE to K-6 learners and more resources for the private education sector, as it regularly consults with the private schools and makes policy recommendations to government.
As an advocate, we work with many other organizations. So right now, for example, we're very active in EDCOM2, but even prior to the EDCOM2 being constituted, we actually have done a lot of research in order for us to better advocate for the sector. For example, we've done research on rationalizing the amount of the ESC and how to allocate the slots. That study resulted in the increase in the amount of the ESC. We also did a research on the certification assessment instruments in order to ensure that our schools which are receiving government subsidies are all compliant with the standards of government and the K-12 curriculum. But I'd like to emphasize that we do the advocacy work after we've done a lot of research and even on the ground FGDs with schools and teachers and even beneficiaries such as students.
Through its externally funded research program, the seminal study on a complementarity framework in basic education was supported and disseminated to key stakeholders.
It also involves advocating for and supporting initiatives that enhance the quality of education private institutions provide. This includes promoting and supporting educational programs, policies, and practices in partnership with other companies and institutions that align with national standards and contribute to the holistic development of students.
PEAC as Program Manager. As a program manager, the PEAC implements programs that contribute to improving access and quality in education.
It also has a role to play in promoting research into educational issues. And I think here, the focus should be on promoting research that provides proof of concept to innovations that can spur the development of Philippine education.
The PEAC implements the largest national subsidy programs in education today, the Junior High School Educational Service Contracting, or the JHS-ESC, and the Senior High School Voucher Program, or the SHS-VP, of the Department of Education. It conceptualized, studied its feasibility, and piloted the ESC with its own resources prior to its nationwide implementation by government and its institutionalization as one of the programs of assistance under GASTPE.
As program manager, I think what is most significant for schools is that we are co-implementing the Junior High School Education Service Contracting Program and the Senior High School Voucher Program. This is a DepEd program. It's legislated, but also part of the special provisions of government in the annual General Appropriations Act is that PEAC should co-implement these programs. And that co-implementation work, which we say is part of our program management, is also our proof of concept about public-private partnership.
The national subsidy programs, such as the ESC and the SHS-VP, are cost-effective ways for government to fulfill its constitutional mandate to provide free secondary education to all Filipino learners.
Well, the PEAC, by the time I came in, was a very well-organized group. The board, composed of the representatives from the regions, have already been doing their job for many years, so the system was much in place. The real changes we did was to conform with the reforms of the K-12. More specifically, the big chunk of the work was about work on the senior high school and the voucher system, which was really something new, and even the appropriation of resources and working with many other private schools was a big job for us, and we worked very closely with the technical team of PEAC so that we could work this out in the time given us. So it was a very exciting but also a very difficult transition to the voucher system.
More than demonstrating its capacity to implement programs efficiently and competently, the PEAC has been a catalyst for government and the private sector to work together through programs that are mutually beneficial to both.
Perhaps the most important role of PEAC, as it developed over the years, has been to provide a safety net for the education of children whom the public sector cannot accommodate.
While working with PEAC, I get the opportunity to directly influence and shape the educational landscape in a way that ensures this investment in our youth is both meaningful and impactful. It's gratifying to see our member institutions benefit from these initiatives, which in turn positively impacts the educational landscape of our country.
In higher education, the PEAC worked on the trailblazing evaluation of graduate education programs, or EGEP, that led to the designation of private higher education institutions as centers of excellence and centers of development by the Commission on Higher Education.
Education is a basic social service, and therefore attainment of quality should be everyone's goal, especially those charged with the responsibility of seeing to it that education as a service is fully met.
The PEAC maintains a quality assurance mechanism through its certification program for private junior high schools and has taken the lead in developing standards-based quality assurance for senior high schools and elementary schools in a seamless design that encourages the continuous improvement of the private schools across basic education levels. The PEAC supported the professional development of countless educators, and a number of them now hold leadership and management roles in educational institutions and the sector itself. It designs and conducts in-service training programs that are responsive to the needs of the sector, as well as partners with forward-looking institutions to offer innovative training opportunities for educators.
We've actively worked on creating and implementing policies aimed at providing tangible solutions. These policies are not just theoretical frameworks. They are practical, actionable strategies designed to mitigate learning loss and ensure our students receive the education they deserve. This involves a multifaceted approach, including curriculum enhancements, teacher training, and leveraging technology for effective learning. I am particularly proud of how these initiatives have come to fruition, reflecting the collective effort and dedication of everyone involved in PEAC. It's a testament to what can be achieved when we come together with a shared vision for bettering the educational landscape in our country.
PEAC as enabler.
I think as funder and advocate, as program manager, we think we're enabling, not just the students and the parents and the teachers and the school heads, but the entire sector, thinking of how it can move together as a private education sector. I think the role has been, it's been very clear what PEAC has done in the last 55 years. I think it has even put public-private partnership and complementarity in all the discussions that we have right now, in terms of, strategies that we will have to adopt in order to arrest the decline in our education system.
Together with champions from the sector and strategic partners and stakeholders in government and other sectors, the PEAC will continue to be an enabler for private education to turn challenges into opportunities, for complementarity to work better in practice, and for realizing an integrated, efficient, inclusive, and high-performing Philippine education system.